Welcome to the Forward Tech Showcase. I'm Lee Rennick, Executive Director of CIO Communities for CIO.com, and I'm thrilled today to welcome Satya Jayadev, VP and CIO of Skyworks Solution, Sanjeev Saturu, SVP and CIO of Casey's General Store, to our panel, where we'll be discussing cloud insights for tech leaders, how you can overcome challenges, maximize ROI, and drive growth. Welcome both to the panel. Perhaps you can introduce yourself. Satya, I'll start off with you.
I'm Satya Jayadev, the CIO for Skyworks. Been with the company for around 6 years now. A bit about the company before talking about myself. Skyworks is a high-performance analog semiconductor player. Our products are all across through different applications within aerospace or automotive or broadband. Infrastructure, cell phones, and all the way to the wearable markets. So wherever there is wireless connectivity, Skyworks has a role to play in that. And as the demand for the ubiquitous, always-on connectivity increases, we see more of Skyworks' presence increasing across the board. And my role is end-to-end IT, including cybersecurity. And it's an amazing time to be in this space, to be an IT leader, as the convergence of business and IT is well and truly on. So looking forward to this discussion with Sanjeev and yourself.
Thank you so much, Satya. And Sanjeev.
Lee, first, thanks for having me, and I'm really excited to be here to be part of the Forward Tech Showcase. Myself, my name is Sanjeev Saturu. I'm the Chief Information Officer and have the honor to represent Casey's General Stores. Casey's is the third largest convenience chain in the United States, fourth largest liquor license, which means we're the fourth largest liquor seller, and the fifth largest pizza chain. And I'm really excited to be here and talk about a very key important topic that's near and dear to everyone, I believe, on this Forward Tech Showcase.
Thank you so much for both joining. And we've had a chance to talk about your roles and the way you're leading your organizations and how you're looking at technology and innovation. And you're both working in very sort of separate sectors. So I really am looking forward to discussing some of these challenges and successes that we're hearing about and seeing in market around cloud and innovation. So thanks again for joining. So let's kick it off right away. Actually, I hosted a roundtable in Toronto last night with a number of tech leaders, and we definitely were talking about cloud, and that's what we're talking about here today. So, we were talking about some of the transformation that happened during COVID, how a lot of data went into the cloud, and then, how sometimes people are now looking at on-premise still a solution. And, obviously dealing with legacy systems and technical debt is one of the concerns when people did make that move into the cloud. So just wondering if you could both maybe share how, some of these challenges and perhaps some successes you've seen, and, with the challenges, how can you mitigate them or overcome them, maybe with strategy and planning? So maybe Satya, we'll kick off with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a few months ago in one of the IDC conferences, there was a really good word cloud that was shared with us, right? The word cloud was, what are the things that you think is important for your organization to move forward? And I think one of the two things that actually came out, which was very common amongst the people that I had at my table, was speed and agility. And I think most companies are on that space. They're basically trying to understand, how can I penetrate this? How can I get this? How can I get here faster? What can I do today to accelerate the transformation process? Forget about the word digital or the term digital transformation. It's all about transformation today, because there's nothing that can be done in any of the industries without digital, right? So it is just redundant to say digital transformation. So when you talk about that, I think speed becomes extremely important. And what gives you speed, right? If you think about that, it's definitely the path towards cloud. There were companies that called themselves a digital organization many years ago, then called themselves a data organization, they're now calling themselves an AI organization. So the metamorphosis is so fast that you can only do that if you're going to be starting to think about the enablement of the functionality rather than the technical feasibility of those solutions. So with that being the case, like at my organization, the intent for me is to see how can I reduce my technical debt and how can I accelerate my way into the cloud. I think carrying legacy or tech or the tech debt can significantly dent my speed or my transformation strategy. This is like if I don't fix the foundation of my house before thinking about adding more floors to my building, that would be it could be disastrous for my organization. And I think that's the importance. We recently implemented SAP, and we wanted to move to the cloud because of that factor. Because how quickly can I make that happen? How quickly can I shorten my implementation timeline, and can I get my product out to my customers so then I can start working on other aspects of our strategy. So that's why cloud becomes more and more important to us as an organization. And I think as we start leveraging the cloud, you're going to start seeing cloud-only strategies coming through as a part of what we're trying to accomplish today.
Interesting. And thanks for that perspective. And, last night we were using a couple of words. One of them was productivity. And certainly that's what I'm relating to when you're telling us how you're approaching it. Sanjeev, what about you?
Absolutely. Thank you for that's a really good question, especially with legacy system, because at the rate and the speed at which technology moves, everything becomes legacy very quick. So having this mindset of embracing legacy is very critical. So there are several challenges when you're migrating to the cloud, from compatibility issues to data migration complexities, integration difficulties, and it goes on and on, from security upgrades, and then, like Satya talked about, the whole tech debt. But operationally, also there are impacts, especially when you move legacy systems to the cloud, tied to potential downtime, skill gaps, vendor lock-in risks, and managing the whole change management, the org change management that's necessary, that goes with it. But there's also a very important play that Satya kind of alluded to, which is strategically, there's a very important aspect of cost management that has to be paid close attention to, while compliance as well. And then how does it strategically align with your business goals? Because all of that is change management, and there could be cultural resistance, which could be a significant hurdle. So those are the common big challenges you'll deal with legacy systems. And this is where it's very important to understand these factors and balance the benefits of what solutions you're putting in to be enabled on the cloud. And this is where my sincere feedback on this is, not all applications and workflows automatically make sense to be in the cloud enabled. And this is where taking a step back, focus on refactoring applications to be cloud native architecture, so that you can ensure that you can fully leverage cloud capabilities while having laser focus on optimizing costs, because that's where productivity also plays a key role. And with that understanding and with that data and facts, driving decisions to determine what things are right to move to the cloud and what is the right time to do is very critical, and is very important to mitigate these challenges.
I appreciate that feedback. And you've touched on a lot of cloud first opportunities, obviously looking at that, looking at the costs, looking at how you're going to manage your data. And that's sort of the next question I wanted to segue into, which is, last night at this roundtable, we were talking about edge to cloud computing and in general, organizing your data, right? So your most important data, processing it, and then, the costs around that. So, just wondering how you believe organizations can ensure they remain adaptable and agile in their cloud strategies, really to keep up to pace with these evolving technology and business needs. Satya, do you want to kick that one off?
Yeah, sure. I think it's true that there's a huge rapid change in the way technology is evolving, and I think at Skyworks we don't believe in products, but we believe in solutions, right? There are lots of products out there, and those products can do a multitude of things. But we actually believe in horses for courses in terms of what we need to do and why we need to do that. And a lot of these are driven by ROIs. Like there are two buckets. One is either risk mitigation or value creation. It has to fall in these two buckets. And in some cases, risk mitigation is value creation as well. And that's why we're taking all our data today from our factory floor, our fab floor, from our corporate systems, and we are bringing it all to the cloud, where we can start building upon some very powerful machine learning models that have a huge impact on our bottom line as well. And I think there are also data that there's a lot of important pieces of data that we can use to leverage for with our top line as well. And but it's all about being very surgical. No point taking a jackhammer into this. It's about taking a scalpel and seeing what we need to work on and how could this add to the value of the organization. In some cases, we want to lead. In some cases, we want to follow, and follow really good too. And I think that's the crux of what we are trying to achieve. And I think having that agility or that flexibility, being nimble enough to go in whichever direction that the company feels that will give them the competitive edge, is exactly the secret sauce, right? And that's exactly what we are trying to see how can we kind of leverage that. There is, I think, like Sanjeev did mention about that. It's not about completely eliminating tech debt or something like that. It's all about, I think he used the right word about embracing tech debt. There are some pieces of systems that we have to embrace, and we'll have to understand how we can use that and what we can do to kind of help leverage the maximum potential that can be kind of like leveraged from it. In other cases, we're trying to bring in solutions that can help us to move. And I think that's where, as a company, we are investing in areas where we feel is going to give us long-term, gains. And in other areas, we are watching. We're watching very carefully to see how is the solution being used. What can we do with this later on? So that's our key strategy in terms of how we can lead and how we can follow. And that's basically a decision that's not just done by me. It's an organizational decision in terms of what we feel that we need to pursue and how can we be more agile in pursuing that. And that's the essence of our IT strategy.
That's really interesting. And it's like, you are a technology first company in many respects, where you're looking at all aspects and everybody in the company is involved in those, creating those efficiencies. So I love that approach. Sanjeev, what about yourself?
Absolutely, Lee. I mean, you talked about edge and cloud, right? I mean, for us, the way we look at it is edge plays a key role because we are in the business of running stores, and our guests' experience is all in the stores. The first interaction, the last interaction, touch point is with technology. So the technology is critical for anything and everything that we do. So edge plays a key role for us to enable, the flexibility to run, to monitor and improve our resiliency, and it's a key enabler for bettering technology outcomes. But we also are being very having a self-awareness that we need to leverage it appropriately and understand it's not a silver bullet, because nothing can be a silver bullet, and this is where adaptability and agility is so important. And I will really synthesize that into two things in how you can drive adaptability and agility. Is number one, first you need to have clarity on the outcome that you're after, and then the second thing, you have to continuously bolster the how you do it, right? So to give you an example on both, for us, for example, our outcome is to improve the experience for our guests and team members in the stores by removing friction. So that's our why. So anything to do with cloud and edge computing, our adaptability is all tied to achieving that outcome. And the way we bolster the how, which is very important, is to continuously focus on improving the ongoing training and development of our team members, and practice, not just do agile, but be agile, which is in your mindset, to enable rapid iteration, experimentation, innovation, and that what drives adaptability. And finally, you have to continuously monitor and optimize cloud usage and performance, or else you won't ensure effectiveness, which is your operational productivity, and above all, the efficiencies, which is delivering the outcomes. So that's what I would share for adaptability and agility.
Yeah, I really like that. And, last night when we were chatting with this group, somebody was talking about one of the major banking companies in the US that is now, everybody that's coming in is being trained on generative AI. And so each person entering, it's not just a matter of here's the tool, use it. It's like, this is how you can use it. We're going to train you into all the ways you can do it. So I appreciate that feedback. And I think it segues well into our next question, which is around AI and machine learning technologies, really, for impacting on cloud and data storage and management in the cloud. Maybe you could share what you might be doing or testing and where you see the benefits of Gen AI, impacting on data storage and cloud.
Absolutely. Uh, See, I mean, there's a lot of hype with Gen AI impact, but there's a lot of reality and truth to it. So, really being laser focused, tied to business outcomes is very important. So, look, it's pretty straightforward. Artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies will, transform. I mean, they will transform data analytics. They will reveal patterns and insights within this vast cloud data sets that'll be out there, right? And that'll enable more informed decision making and will really help all of us as companies, as well as communities, as well as good citizens of the world, to really truly deliver some amazing strategic initiatives. And this is where AI-driven automation, from a data aspect, will really simplify simple tasks like classification, tagging, and organizing the data, and increasing efficiencies, which will actually minimize the human error, right? And this is where machine learning models have the ability to analyze, the spend patterns, to help companies to focus on cost-saving opportunities, such as where are we underutilizing certain resources, and where we can do more economical storage options, right? And these advancements will just provide competitive edge for all of us. That'll drive innovation and agility in our organizations, as well as impact, the communities that we serve. So, in terms of benefits and challenges, AI and ML, can and will analyze large volumes of data to uncover patterns, trends, and provide insights. As I said, that will drive better decision making and allow us to do better strategic planning. However, this does require significant resources and sophisticated algorithms to process and analyze data effectively. So that's what I would respond to this whole Gen AI impact in data storage.
No, I think that's very valid, and I'll just add a few other, a few more points to that, right? When we talk about Gen AI and we talk about data storage, I think it's not about the volume of data. It's always about the variety of data that we are looking at to see, especially when it comes to decision making, right? And we can, I mean, there are several layers to this because when people talk about AI, they seldom talk about data. And to me, the first thing as an organization is you need to have a very strong form of data governance before you start thinking about AI and AI governance. So if you don't have the color of your shirt, no point picking the color of your tie. I think that's the essence of what we see. The second part of it is that organizationally or culturally, the organization has to go through its own changes. Uh, I, as a leader of the organization, I'm trying to kind of push the fact that you need to have a venture capitalist mindset to investing in AI or Gen AI, right? The fact of the matter is that as an organization, we are trying to do 8 to 10 different POCs, and I tell the organization very clearly that maybe 7 of them would fail. It's okay, but the 3 of those are going to pay us dividends. That's going to more than pay for what we had imagined for the other 7, right? I think that should be the essence of it, is to have a very venture capitalist mindset, have a very entrepreneurial mindset to say, let's invest in AI. Let's look at this. Yeah, I mean, speed is important. We understand that there is value at the end of the road. We also have a idea hackathon within the organization to say, bring us ideas. And if we down select those ideas, let's invest in those ideas. Let's try to operationalize those ideas. Maybe 7 of them would not work. That's okay. But the other 3 is going to pay us dividends, right? And that's the essence, again, is very important to understand that Gen AI is great, but you need to culturally have a different mindset to start investing into this, so it can start helping you to do that. That's why the whole organization has to be a catalyst here, not just IT. It's not enough if your IT is the change agent, right? The whole organization has to be the change agent in that perspective.
Yeah, I appreciate those insights. And that really ties in well to our next question. We both chatted about this when we had our prep call, and it's really an important factor, I think, in your roles as IT leaders. post COVID and how everything has changed dramatically the way we run our businesses from a technology standpoint. So we released the State of the CIO report this year, the 2024 report, which surveyed about 1,100 CIOs globally. And 79% of those said that they have an educational partnership with the CEO and the board of directors. So, when we last chatted about that, we spoke about the CIO as being a part of the visionary role of the organization, and really having that educational partnership. And I think, from what I'm hearing and what you're both saying right now, it's not just with the C-suite or the CEO, it's with the full business. So, could you both maybe talk a little bit about how your roles are, in building those educational partners and building business acceleration? Maybe Sanjeev, we can kick off with you.
Absolutely. Look, Lee, this is the best question of this whole thing. I firmly believe in it because technology, as you just mentioned, as you were asking this question, is technology is a key enabler that impacts business strategy, the organization culture, and the ability of the organization, the execution skills, right? Because technology is woven; it's the fabric of everything that any company does. So treating technology as an appendage means you are going to be no longer in business, and technology has to be the key enabler. That's the mindset that is a very key critical mindset that has to be enabled. Hence, educating the C-suite and the business is a must, because the management team and the business stakeholders, they need to be very conversant in it, because things like understanding what does even tech debt mean. Tech debt is not just a technology IT jargon. Technology debt, I explain it as in a very simplistic fashion. It's an anchor-based debt and it's a time-based debt. An anchor-based debt, if you do not, you can keep not addressing it, but what happens is it becomes such a big anchor that it slows you down, and as Satya talked about, really impacts your speed to market. And then a time-based debt is if you do not address it within a period of time, it causes issues and creates a lot of pain all across the organization, impacting your strategic priorities. And this is where education is very important with the business stakeholders, so that we're all on the same level page. And then AI, it's very important to educate your board, your C-suite, your business stakeholders on AI. There is a lot of hype, there's a lot of reality, there's a lot of myths, there's a lot of legends, and there's a lot of real state and facts, right? And this is where having a really agile mindset, the experimentation culture that even Satya hit on, is very, very critical. And then, of course, data, right? I overuse this, but I say this: in God we trust. For everything else, there is data, and which is a fact. And data, if you put garbage in, you get garbage out with AI initiatives, and that's where data is very important. And digitization, everything is being digitized, so that there is an education that is very important, so that we all speak in the same. But the most important one, which I feel is very important, which needs to be front and center, is the tech portfolio prioritization, which is specific to. There needs to be a specific cadence in everybody being aligned on what are the key things that we're going to really focus on and truly deliver that'll accelerate the firm's strategy. And I think those are the key important aspects that, as a leader, you need to engage and educate the board, the C-suite, as well as your business stakeholders.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And Satya.
Yeah, I think the term that Sanjeev used was educating the C-suite. I came up, I don't know, I came up maybe, I like to use the term chief demystifying officer, right? The roles that we have to don today is to completely demystify what's happening around us. When blockchain came, we did the same thing. Needless to say, Gen AI, machine learning, all of that has to be demystified. And I think that is where transformational CIOs differentiate from traditional CIOs, right? The traditional CIOs were only focused on operational efficiencies, but the transformational CIOs focused on business growth, on customer engagement, on operational efficiencies, and on the business and technology, agility in terms of how they want to do this. And I think about this, right? This is really true. The business is making decisions on technology today, and IT is making decisions on the business today. So the convergence is beautiful in terms of how we see this, because you walk into a room a few years ago, you could say who's IT and who's business. Today, there is no such differentiation. The business is talking the IT lingo and IT is talking the business lingo. That in itself is a significant difference to say, or an evidence that says that transformation is truly on in these organizations. And I think this is only this is only going to go more, this is going to grow over time to a point where we would start understanding about how the impact on technology is going to be on the business. And that's the demystifying aspect of it, right? And as CIOs, or as any person within the organization, we need to understand how does a company make money, and how can we have an impact on making that, on increasing that. And I think the importance again is for us to kind of put those visions in the future. I had mentioned about sitting with my own team members and saying, imagine you had a chat GPT interface to your organization. What are the questions that you would ask? That is the first question that you ask anybody in terms of how do you see this. The same thing you ask the board. You got a chat GPT screen and it says, ask me anything about the company and I'll tell you. And then start peeling that onion, right? And just start peeling it. That's the whole reverse engineering that happens. And then see where your data is, see how strong your systems of record and systems of transactions are, and then see how you're collecting that data from the single source of truth, and then you'll probably solve the whole equation from that point onwards. But because today we live where business IT convergence is truly happening, it's very important for the role of the CIOs to kind of be the bridge and get that gap even more closer, or get that convergence happening even more deeper. And then you start unraveling a lot of different business decisions. And I think it's very clear that we have a huge impact on the top line and the bottom line. How do we make that happen? How quickly can we make that happen? Is where the essence of it is.
Fantastic advice from both of you. And, I think, we're talking about you really being embedded as leaders within the organization, helping to drive right across the full organization. And that's, whether we're talking about productivity or revenue generation and providing solutions. So I thank you so much for that. So we have a wrap up question here. We have a few minutes left. We really pride ourselves on the opportunity of bringing people together to have the opportunity to network and learn. And certainly that's what we're doing here. So lastly, do you have any advice for those attending today about planning for cloud and maybe some best practices to put in place? Sanjeev, maybe we'll kick off with you.
Yeah. So I've been part of multiple organizations where cloud first, cloud is the only thing, that strategy has been laid out. But this word I'll start saying with: be smart with cloud and have a smart cloud strategy. Because not all applications and workflows automatically make sense to be cloud enabled. So this is where, second, given the variables I talked about, the complexity from tech stack, data, security, skill set, timeline, costs, you name it, it's important to understand these factors and balance the benefits of that solution being cloud enabled is very critical. So with that understanding, make it a data and factual backed decision to determine what things are right to move to the cloud and when is the right time to do so.
Thank you so much for that. And Satya.
I think my advice would be on looking at cloud as an accelerator. I think you, as an IT organization, we need to understand what gives the organization a competitive edge. Again, no offense to other things happening in IT. The back end or the back office operations are very important, but back office operations don't give you competitive edge. Every company does network administration. Every company does backup administration. Every company does cloud management on the back end. What companies do better is how quickly can you operationalize projects for your organization. If your organization says, if I had this could add a few basis points to my top line, or this can do this, then focus on those and leave all the back end of it to somebody else who can do this better for you. If you're thinking about, I'm thinking about either implementing this on-prem or on the cloud, think about it for a second and see if it gives you, what gives you the competitive edge, what gives the business a competitive edge. Think about the speed and the agility in the interest of what we've been talking about, is to make sure that your decisions are based on what gives your company or your business the competitive edge, rather than what you like to do. That's why, again, I sometimes don't want to bring in the back office folks in some of the decision making. I bring the business in terms of decision making to say, what do you want to do? How fast do you want to go? Don't worry about how we're going to make it happen. And with the limited people that we have, I'm trying to channelize those people in terms of adding the value on the front end and leave the back end to somebody else who can do this better for your organization. And that strategy will really help you to accelerate this transformation.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much both for joining us today. I so appreciate your time, your energy, and your expertise, and the opportunity to share with you on this Forward Tech Showcase on Cloud. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it.